What if everything you were taught about Jesus was in fact an intricate deception designed to strip you of your inherent power? What if I revealed to you right now that Jesus' true mission was never to establish a religion, that every single church, every rigid doctrine, and every repeated ritual you have ever witnessed was meticulously constructed like a prison wall surrounding the most profound and dangerous truth in all of human history? The undeniable truth that you, yes, you, are carrying the very same divine flame that blazed within his own heart. The same potent divine fire that the Roman Empire and its successors have spent 2,000 years desperately trying to extinguish. He was not sent here to be blindly worshipped. He came only to serve as a mirror, reminding you exactly of who and what you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning. He came to awaken something potent that has been slumbering deep inside you since before your physical birth. But if he never intended to start a church, and if his genuine message was deliberately buried beneath centuries of systematic control and manipulation, what exactly was that message? And why, after all this time, are you finally hearing it now? My name is Ian Walker, and for the past 12 years, I have been focused on decoding the hidden esoteric teachings that were systematically stripped away from mainstream Christianity. What I'm about to share with you will either fundamentally transform your life forever, or you will click away from this video because your soul is simply not yet ready to handle this level of explosive truth. But if you choose to stay, if you are one of those who has been feeling that ancient, persistent stirring, that unmistakable call towards something infinitely deeper, then understand this. This is not just another YouTube video. This is your personal initiation into the real gospel, the powerful activating message they never ever wanted you to hear. In these next few minutes, I am going to reveal the 3 secret activation codes Jesus left behind, codes that can immediately ignite your dormant divine nature. I will expose the real reason Rome did not eliminate Christianity, but instead corrupted it from the inside out. And exactly at the 15-minute mark, I am going to share a fact that will prove to you without a doubt that you are not watching this by accident. But first, allow me to share the story of the night I realized that every single thing I believed about Jesus Christ was profoundly wrong. 3 years ago, I was sitting silently in a church pew, listening to yet another exhausting sermon focused solely on sin and salvation, when something deep inside me suddenly snapped. It wasn't a snap of anger, but a brilliant, undeniable flash of recognition. The pastor was speaking about how desperately we all need to accept Jesus as our Savior, arguing that we are fundamentally broken and require external fixing. But as I looked around at the faces of all these earnest people striving with every ounce of their being to feel worthy of a God they were told was distant, I heard a clear whisper resonate in the quiet space of my soul. What if you are not broken? What if you never were? That very night, I went home and opened my Bible, focusing strictly on the words Jesus actually spoke, not the theological interpretations Paul wrote about him, and certainly not what the institutional church taught about him. I searched only for his actual words, and I discovered a truth that completely changed my trajectory. The kingdom of heaven is within you, from Luke 17:21. You are the light of the world, from Matthew 5:14. Before Abraham was, I am, from John 8:58. These were not just beautiful, comforting verses. They were meticulously crafted activation codes. He wasn't only talking to a small group of disciples 2,000 years ago. He was talking directly to you right now. But here is the discovery that truly broke my heart and simultaneously ignited my mission. If Jesus came to awaken the divine flame within every single human being, if his real message was the radical truth that we are all without exception children of the Most High, then how did we end up with a religion that systematically makes us feel small, guilty, unworthy, and eternally separate from God? The answer to that profound question will shatter everything you think you know about the foundations of Christianity. But before I reveal it, I need to take you back to the very beginning, to the real Jesus, the one they consciously buried. I invite you to close your eyes for a brief moment. Consciously forget everything you have ever been told about Jesus. Forget the inaccurate depictions of blonde hair and blue eyes, the sanitized, harmless Sunday school version. See him as he authentically was, a Middle Eastern mystic, a profound radical, a sovereign being who chose to walk intimately with lepers, with prostitutes, and with reviled tax collectors. He did this not because he was trying to save them in the conventional sense, but because he recognized something pure and divine in them that the religious elite had completely forgotten. He looked at a Samaritan woman at a well and declared, "The water I give will become a spring of water welling up to eternal life." He wasn't talking about H2O or physical water. He was speaking of the living stream of activated consciousness that flows relentlessly through every truly awakened being. He told his disciples in no uncertain terms, "Greater works than these will you do." Stop and think about that statement, greater works. He was not being humble or modest. He was explicitly telling them, and he is telling you, that the power he demonstrated was merely a preview of what becomes possible when a human being finally remembers and fully embodies who they really are. But here is where the teaching goes deep. Jesus spoke almost entirely in parables, not because he wished to confuse people, but because he needed to bypass the rigid rational mind and speak directly to the receptive soul. Every story he told was a conscious transmission. Every single teaching was ingeniously designed to activate dormant divine DNA within the listener. "Let those who have ears hear," he would say. He knew intrinsically that not everyone was prepared, that this profound, world-altering truth would sound like pure foolishness to those still deeply trapped within the matrix of religious thinking. He purposely gathered the outcasts and the marginalized, because only those who had already been rejected by the system were truly open to receiving the real transmission. The broken-hearted, the desperate seekers, the ones who could never quite fit comfortably into the institutional pews. They took a cosmic awakener and reduced him to a religious mascot. They took a man who came only to remind you of your innate divine nature and turned him into an idol you are meant to worship from an insurmountable distance. They changed his radical instruction, "Follow me," into the debilitating command, "Worship me." But the flame, the inner flame of divinity that they could never manage to kill. And if you are still watching this video, if something vital within you is intensely stirring right now, it is because that flame is recognizing itself. It is because you are finally beginning to remember. But I haven't even told you the most shocking part yet. The story of how a powerful Roman emperor literally rewrote the core of Christianity, and how the original real teachings were simultaneously hidden in plain sight. That explosive revelation is coming up in just a moment. But first, let me ask you one critical question. Have you ever felt deep down like you were created for something magnificent, something more? Like there is an uncontainable fire inside you that the confines of religion could never quite manage to hold? Drop a flame emoji in the comments immediately if you recognize that feeling. The year was 312 AD. Emperor Constantine was on the verge of fighting the battle that would irrevocably determine the future of the Roman Empire. The night before the confrontation, he claimed to experience a vision, a cross appearing in the sky, accompanied by the words, "In this sign conquer." He won the battle decisively, and then he did something that utterly changed the course of human consciousness forever. He legalized Christianity. Now, most Christians throughout history celebrate this as the moment their faith was saved. But what if I told you that it was actually the precise moment Christianity was strategically hijacked? Constantine didn't just legalize the faith. He insisted on standardizing it. He took a vibrant, mystical movement that had been spreading like wildfire among the slaves, women, and outcasts, and he made it institutionally respectable. In 325 AD, he convened the notorious Council of Nicaea. 300 bishops gathered in one room to vote on and decide exactly what Christianity would look like for the next 2 millennia. They voted on which Gospels would be included in the official Bible. They voted on the fundamental nature of Christ. They voted on specific doctrines. Pause and think about that. They voted on divine revelation. But here is the vital part they omitted in Sunday school. There were many other Gospels, dozens of them. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Philip. These sacred texts contained the esoteric teachings, the inner mysteries, the actual codes necessary for awakening. The Gospel of Thomas notably records Jesus saying, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." That message is clearly not about accepting Jesus as your personal Savior. It is about the profound internal awakening of the Christ consciousness within your own being. Yet these powerful Gospels were swiftly declared heretical. They were systematically burned, hidden, and completely lost to the public for over 100 years. Why? Because they were too dangerous to the system. They taught that every single human being has direct, unmediated access to the divine. They taught that you require no priest, no church building, and no institution whatsoever to experience God. They taught that the kingdom of heaven is not a distant place you might go to when you die, but a state of consciousness you can access and embody right now. Rome didn't actually fear the person or the message of Jesus. They feared what would happen to their empire if everyone suddenly realized they possessed that exact same sovereign power inside them. So they created a religion about Jesus instead of honoring the revolutionary religion of Jesus. They transformed a spiritual revolution into a rigid, controlled institution. They switched inner transformation for external performative worship. They took the radical truth, "You are the light of the world," and replaced it with the crippling lie, "You are a sinner in need of salvation." But the real teaching never truly died. It simply went deep underground, and this is where the story becomes intensely personal. Because if you have remained watching, if you have made it this far into the hidden narrative, it is because something fundamental in you recognizes the truth of what I am conveying. It is because you are intrinsically part of the lineage that has quietly carried this flame forward. But before I fully explain how that is possible, I need to show you the secret codes that Jesus deliberately left behind, the ones that miraculously survived the Roman takeover. The codes that can trigger your awakening right now. Wait, I almost forgot. Before we dive into the codes, I need to acknowledge something crucial. Half of you are likely feeling intense resistance right now. Perhaps anger, maybe fear. Perhaps you are thinking, "This sounds like pure heresy." Good. That means we are hitting the precise mark. The truth has always been profoundly dangerous to systems of control and power. And if what I am sharing is making you uncomfortable, ask yourself why. Is it because the information is fundamentally wrong? Or is it because it is threatening a limited identity that you have meticulously built your life around? I am not here to destroy your faith. I am here to intentionally set it on fire, because only what is truly real survives the flames, and what is false was never your genuine faith to begin with. I want you to do something sacred right now. Hit that like button. Do it not just for the algorithm, although that definitely helps, but use it as an energetic signal to the machines that this kind of awakening content needs to reach more of your kind. This is the modern way we pass the inner flame to fellow seekers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because what we are collectively building here is not just a YouTube channel. It is a powerful, decentralized movement of awakening beings who adamantly refuse to remain small. Also, drop a comment below using just 3 words, "I am remembering." This is not just a phrase, it is a clear signal to the others like you. This is how we connect to each other in the comment section and drive our sacred conversations deeper like a powerful flare sent up in the night sky. Let's see how many of us are awakening right now. Now let me give you the codes. In all the chaos of mistranslation, deliberate interpretation, and institutional manipulation, 3 sacred codes managed to survive. 3 fundamental activation sequences that Jesus embedded so deeply within his core teachings that no empire, no matter how powerful, could erase them. These are not merely Bible verses. They are pure consciousness technologies. And I am about to show you exactly how to use them. When Jesus stated, "Before Abraham was, I am," he wasn't simply making a statement about his own specific divine nature. He was handing you the master key necessary to unlock your own. The powerful phrase, "I am," appears over 300 times in the Bible. This is not a coincidence. It is in essence the name of God itself. Yahweh literally translates to, "I am that I am." But here is the profound secret. Every single time you utter the words, "I am," you are actively invoking the same boundless creative power that spoke the entire universe into existence. Try this conscious activity with me right now. Close your eyes, take a deep, settling breath, and state with me from the core of your being, "I am the light of the world. I am one with the Father. I am that I am." Do you sense that subtle shift that is not mere positive thinking? That is recognition. That is your soul remembering its true eternal nature. Jesus was not teaching you how to worship him. He was teaching you how to be him, how to fully embody the same activated consciousness he manifested. The kingdom of heaven is within you. This single statement might be the single most revolutionary declaration ever recorded. Almost every mainstream religion tells you that God resides somewhere else up in heaven in a specific temple or confined within a book. But Jesus proclaimed explicitly, the kingdom, the very realm where God's rule and presence are manifested, is inside you. This is not metaphorical language, it is literal reality. Your consciousness, when fully aligned with divine truth, instantly transforms into a portal to the eternal realm. The mystics throughout every age understood this reality. They called it by different names, the kingdom, nirvana, enlightenment, Christ consciousness. But they were all pointing to the identical reality. Right now, in this very moment, you have direct access to the same profound peace, the same infinite power, and the same unconditional love that Jesus effortlessly demonstrated. Not because you passively believe in him, but because you are him. You are the same divine consciousness expressing itself through a unique physical form. Let me guide you through a very simple and very short sacred activity. Place your dominant hand deliberately over your heart. Feel it beating steadily. That is not just physical muscle contracting. That is the rhythmic pulse of creation itself vibrating through your physical form. Now breathe deeply into that specific space. Imagine a warm, radiant golden light expanding in your chest. That is the kingdom. That is your true home. That is who you truly are. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do. John 14:12. Greater works. Not just the same works, but infinitely greater works. Jesus was not the endpoint of human spiritual evolution. He was the dazzling preview. He was showing you what is absolutely possible when a human being fully awakens to and utilizes their divine nature. The miracles he performed, healing the sick, profound manifestation transcending physical limitations. These were not special privileges reserved for the Son of God. They were the natural expressions of fully activated consciousness, and he promised that you would do even greater things. What if the next phase of human evolution is not technological, but purely consciousness-based? What if you are not just here to survive, pay bills, and eventually die? What if you are here specifically to demonstrate the impossible? Every time you consciously choose love over pervasive fear, you are performing a miracle. Every time you consciously forgive the unforgivable, you are transcending human limitation. Every time you speak a truth that transforms someone's life, you are channeling the same immense power that Jesus wielded. You are not less than Jesus. You are Jesus in a different form, having a different modern experience, but expressing the identical eternal consciousness. Now I know some of you are thinking, this is simply too good to be true. Or perhaps, if this is real, why don't I feel powerful? That is exactly what we must address next, because there is a very deliberate reason why you have been disconnected from your innate divine nature, and it is not what you assume. If we all carry this divine spark, if we all have immediate access to the kingdom within, why does the world around us look the way it does? Why do the vast majority of people feel chronically powerless, separated, and small? Because there has been a systematic, sophisticated campaign designed specifically to make you forget who you are. This campaign did not begin with Constantine. It did not start with organized religion. It began the very moment consciousness first descended into physical form and experienced the illusion of separation, but it was ruthlessly weaponized by systems of control. Every baby is born enlightened. Have you ever gazed into the eyes of a newborn? There is ancient wisdom there, pure, untainted presence. They have not yet learned to separate themselves from the universe. But then we begin the conditioning. We teach them they are just a body, just a specific name, just separate from everything else. We teach them to fear, to compete, to compulsively seek validation from outside themselves. By the time they reach adulthood, they have utterly forgotten their divine nature. They believe they are small, limited mortal beings, having a brief, insignificant experience before returning to dust. This forgetting is not accidental. Awakened humans are incredibly dangerous to systems that rely on control. If you knew definitively that you were a sovereign divine being, would you meekly accept being told what to think, how to live, or who to worship? Here is the most brilliant, insidious part of the conspiracy. They did not eliminate spirituality entirely. They cleverly co-opted it. They took your natural, inborn desire to connect with the divine and forcibly funneled it through restrictive institutions. They made you believe you absolutely need a middleman to access God, a priest, a pastor, a church, building a book. They took Jesus, who came specifically to eliminate the separation between human and divine, and turned him into the ultimate separator. You can only reach God through me, they claimed he meant. But what he really meant was the only way to God is through becoming what I became. They transformed salvation into a transaction instead of a transformation. They convinced you that you are born broken, inherently sinful, and unworthy of direct communion with the divine. So you spend your entire life desperately trying to earn something you already infinitely possess. But the deepest tragedy is not that they stole your power. It's that they managed to convince you to give it away willingly. They made you an accomplice in your own spiritual imprisonment. Every time you utter, "I'm just human," you are actively denying your divine nature. Every time you state, "I could never do that," you are placing a limit on infinite potential. Every time you look for God outside yourself, you are perpetuating the core lie of separation. But here is the vital thing they never accounted for. Truth has an inherent powerful way of resurfacing. The flame of divinity refuses to be permanently extinguished. And in every single generation, a few manage to remember the mystics, the healers, the visionaries, the ones who never quite fit into the system because they simply carried too much light. And now, in this time of great global awakening, the remembering is accelerating at an exponential rate, which brings me to the real reason why you are truly here, why you were guided to this specific video, why you have watched for almost 20 minutes when the average human attention span is supposedly 8 seconds. It is because you are one of them, one of the flame carriers, one of the souls who incarnated here specifically to remember and to help others remember. There is an ancient prophecy hidden in plain sight. Jesus spoke of it. The mystics throughout history have pointed to it, and it is manifesting right now. And in the last days I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Acts 2:17. This is not about the literal end of the world. This is about the necessary end of the world, as we have known it, the end of the age of separation and the beginning of the age of remembrance. Look around you. People are waking up everywhere. They are questioning everything they've been told. They are abandoning churches that make them feel small and guilty. They are actively seeking truth outside traditional controlled institutions. They are having sudden, undeniable mystical experiences. They are remembering past lives. They are developing intuitive and psychic abilities. They are healing themselves and others through pure intention. The medical establishment dismissively calls it the placebo effect. The religious establishment calls it dangerous or heretical. But you know what it fundamentally is. It is millions of humans remembering they are not just humans. Social media was originally intended to distract us, but instead it connected the awakening ones. Now truth spreads faster and more globally than ever before. Now the flame carriers can finally find each other. You didn't click on this video randomly. You were not guided here by accident or chance. You are here because your soul recognizes the frequency activation that is happening right now. You are part of the 144,000 sattals mentioned in Revelation. Not a literal count of 144,000 people, but the symbolic representation of those who carry the pure, uncorrupted frequency of awakened consciousness. You chose to be here for this time. You chose to incarnate now in this pivotal moment, to be a catalyst in the great remembering. Your job is not to frantically save everyone. Your sacred job is simply to remember who you are and to live powerfully from that truth. When you fully embody your divine nature, you automatically give others silent permission to do the same. You are a walking activation code. Every person you encounter has the opportunity to remember simply because they witness you living as your authentic divine self. The church age is ending. The age of the mystic is beginning, the age where every human being possesses direct, immediate, unmediated access to divine consciousness. Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." He wasn't just talking about his physical body. He was prophesying this very moment. The moment when the external institutional temples would crumble and the sacred temple within would be triumphantly rebuilt. You are that temple. You are the second coming. Not Jesus physically returning in the clouds, but Christ consciousness awakening simultaneously in millions of human hearts across the globe. We are reaching the end of our journey together here. But this is in truth only your beginning. I want you to close your eyes one last time. Take a deep, intentional breath and feel into what feels different about you now compared to when you first clicked play. Do you sense it? That deep stirring, that powerful remembrance, that flame that has just been vigorously kindled? That is not my doing. That is pure recognition. Your soul recognizing itself. Your divine nature awakening to its own profound truth. Repeat these powerful words after me, not just with your voice, but with your entire sovereign being. I am the light of the world. The kingdom of heaven is within me. I am one with the Father. I am that I am. I came here to remember, and I came here to help others remember. I am the second coming of Christ consciousness in this form. This is not the terminus of your path. This is your initiation into the real deep work. Your commitment now is to live from this remembered truth, to embody the love, the light, the power, and the infinite presence that you inherently are. When doubt inevitably creeps in, and it will return immediately to these 3 codes. When the world attempts to convince you that you are small, and it certainly will remember this specific moment. You are not a human being merely having a spiritual experience. You are divine consciousness, having a temporary human experience. You are not broken and in desperate need of saving. You are perfect and powerful, and you are here to serve. You are not separate from God. You are God expressing as you. The moment you fully remember, that is the exact moment everything they built to control you begins to crumble into dust. The flame they could never cage in pews or doctrine, it lives only in you. Tend it like a holy, sacred fire. Let it guide you. Let it guide others. You are the light they tried to bury. I am Ian Walker, and this is the esoteric path. We maintain a private sanctuary, a private Facebook group, a hidden gathering place for those who see clearly through the illusion. The ones actively decoding the forgotten teachings, reclaiming the Christ within, and rising beyond the outdated walls of organized religion. If that profound call has stirred something deep within you, you are not alone anymore. Our private group is where the deeper, transformative conversations live, and the link is waiting for you immediately in the description and pinned comment below. And if your soul is still whispering, more, the sacred scrolls are here. Lost gospels, hidden codes, mystical maps finally decoded and clearly explained for this exact moment in your awakening. You were never meant to walk this path blind. These tools are designed to be your torch and compass. Before you leave, mark this transformative moment in 3 sacred ways. Subscribe and tap the bell notification. Do this not for me, but for the fully awakened version of you that you are becoming. By doing that, you ensure you get notified whenever we release a new awakening video. Comment below with the words, "I am awake." Let your liberated voice be heard. Receive what your soul has been asking for. The flame has been successfully lit inside you. Now let it spread uncontrollably, 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 uncontrollably.